Hello, beautiful people. Today brings us a full moon in the sign of Virgo. It actually takes place this morning, the 7th of March, 2023, at 7:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will occur at 16 degrees of Virgo. As you probably already know, full moons are actually moments of culmination of the waxing energy of the moon during the cycle. It is the point where manifestations are completed. So all of the energy that we've been building up toward in the waxing half of the cycle is now coming into full fruition at the full moon. It's almost like an orgasmic birth. So we're completing that waxing energy and moving it into the world, into actual reality. Another way of looking at that is that it is the pinnacle of possibility made into reality. And in the sign of Virgo, we find the following magic. Virgo is very detail-oriented, so we might start noticing things that we haven't paid attention to before. We might look at the smaller, finer points of the things that we manifested during this time. Virgo is virgin energy. Virgo, the mythic creature, was married to the community instead of to a single partner. So she is devoting her life to service instead of devoting her life to personal fulfillment. Virgo also has the magic of health and wellness. It is an earth sign. It's related to the body. This is very efficient, organized, and practical energy. So it's a good time to notice what needs done, to take stock and inventory of the things that we've manifested and how we might want to work with those things, to change those things. Basically, it's analytical mind. And one little bit about Virgo that is sometimes not always talked about is that there can be a tendency toward anxiety and nervousness. And this is perfectly normal for Virgo, as long as we can remember that this is an initial reaction and we can recognize it for what it is and then look at the root of the issue, look at the details of what's happening that's leading us into that state of anxiety and nervousness. And that can help us to move forward in a way that feels much more healthy and aligned in accordance with that health and wellness aspect of Virgo. So there's quite a lot of magic under a Virgo full moon, as you might be noticing. The Sabian symbol for this Virgo full moon is a fairly exciting one. It is a volcano eruption bringing dust clouds, flowing lava, earth rumblings. Now, there are obviously a number of ways that this can be interpreted, which is always true of the Sabian symbols. The way I look at this is I sort of align it with the Tower card in the major arcana of the tarot. Basically, the Tower card is a symbol of foundational destruction. It's of everything crumbling to the ground. It's of things coming to a head, sort of like the volcano erupting. So there's a lot of energy that's been building and building and growing, and it's gotten a little bit out of control and might not have a sense of aligned direction anymore. So it's time for that energy to burst through the old foundations that were holding it in place or trying to hold it in place, and allowing them to break everything down to the absolute basic ground floor. And what that does is it allows us to have a clear, fresh space for rebuilding, something that is more aligned, a container that is more able to hold the new vision we have moving forward. So while some people might see this as a little bit of a downer, I actually see this as a really hopeful sign for this full moon in Virgo. Now let's look at some of the aspects of note during this moment in time when the moon goes full. The first thing we might notice is that the full moon in Virgo is opposing Mercury and Neptune both in Pisces. And oppositions basically show us gaps between two polar opposites or two binaries, and they can give us clues as to how we need to bridge those gaps, or at least what kind of gaps are needing to be bridged. The full moon in Virgo is practical magic, like we mentioned before. It reveals gaps in our ability to communicate our needs, and especially in relation to health and wellness. She might also reveal a separation between mind and body, needing reconnecting into a unified whole. This is a beautiful time to start looking at how we can blend mind and body together and communicate what we need to make that happen. Secondly, we look at the full moon in Virgo in its trine aspect to Uranus in Taurus. Under this full moon, you may discover new channels for expressing your unique needs and for sharing your unique gifts and talents with the world. These innovations, if you do implement them, will help you progress along your evolutionary path. Very beautiful, auspicious aspect there. Then we go over to the square aspect between the full moon and Mars in Gemini. The moon squaring Mars can indicate blocked action and direction, which can feel frustrating sometimes. If you pay attention to the results, or the lack thereof, of the actions you're trying to take, you might be able to find ways to align your actions more closely with your needs, rather than relying on your fears to be the motivation behind your actions. And lastly, Saturn is right on the cusp of entering Pisces. 1 hour after the moon reached its fullness, Saturn entered Pisces. And there's always a noticeable shift when planets change signs. And Saturn is the planet of constriction, of boundaries, limitations, ambitions, traditions, and other patriarchal energies. So be on the lookout for possible effects of this shift as they play out in your life as well as on the collective field. So let's bring all of that disparate information and data together into one sort of overarching story. Under this Virgo full moon, we may suddenly become aware of our own life structures being shaken to the ground. We'll see what's missing from our foundations that's been keeping us from progressing to where we want to go next. And it allows us to see also where we're being blocked from taking the same old actions we've always taken in the past, looking for new ways, new ideas, and new strategies for moving forward. We're preparing for new paradigms to come. We need to make sure that we're aligned with our soul selves in order to benefit from these coming shifts. It may be a bumpy ride, but it can lead to a beautiful destination if we're willing to brave the adventure. And to add just a little more clarity to that summarization of this full moon period, I pulled a tarot card for the Virgo full moon, and that card is the 8 of Swords. And the 8 of Swords is here to teach us about the energies of this full moon in Virgo. She wants us to focus on trusting. Virgo is practical, she's capable, and she's healthy. She's guiding you through this time with her wise illumination. She knows what you need and what you fear. If you can get out of your own way and trust her, she'll guide you exactly where you need to go. She'll lead you through the obstacles that surround you, and she will give you new ways to move through the world that are more efficient and healthier for you. 8s are aligned with the Strength card in the Major Arcana. And this card tells you there is strength in vulnerability and in trust. The Swords suit are aligned with the element of fire and with the concept of identity. So basically, this card is telling you also to stay true to your soul self as you prepare to rebuild your path. And if you can do that, all will be revealed at the opportune moment. You are divinely guided. Trust it. For those of you who like to go a little bit deeper under the full moon, here's a journal opportunity for you. So you might set aside some time to journal about the ways you are aligning or neglecting to align with your soul self. Your soul self is the deep inner core of who you came here to be during this life. It is expressed most clearly in your inner knowing, that little internal voice or feeling that always seems to know exactly what's best for you at exactly the right time. Use these pages to explore what you know to be true, but what you fear to express or to act upon. Ask yourself how differently things might look if you did things differently. Then list out some of the practical steps you might take moving forward. Virgo is nothing if not practical. If you are interested in connecting more with the Luna and her cycles, or if you're just curious about what it's like to pay attention to the moon and to progress through the cycles with her, and you'd like to explore that with some like-minded people, please feel invited to join our Moon Meets community. It's a free community with virtual monthly gatherings at the new moon. And basically, we just navigate the cycles of the moon together, both through the Moon Meet calls, through posts in the community during various stages of the cycle, and through just connecting with each other, sharing our experiences, and understanding that we're not alone in this journey. We would love to see you there. You can head over to the website, experiments-in-bliss.com, and just hit the Moon Meets tab if you're interested. And that is our overview of the Virgo full moon. I hope that it brought you some informative guidance, some practical magic. And I hope that you find your way through this time with grace, with health, with vitality, and with alignment. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.